what was like meeting and working with Bruce Lee?
At that time, he's a really huge star. I'm only young stunt guy.
Jackie Chan has finally spoken up about the legendary Bruce Lee, sharing untold stories and personal experiences.
And also in that time, I kind of like the best stuntman in Hong Kong. After I do the stunt, the Bruce Lee come, they're quite difficult, the stunt.
For years, fans have wondered about their relationship. Was it friendly, competitive, or something more? Jackie, known for his incredible martial arts and stunt work, reveals what it was really like working with Bruce on Enter the Dragon.
When Bruce Lee kick, you don't shut your eyes, because when you shut your eyes, you cannot see Bruce Lee kick. You know how fast?
He talks about Bruce's intense training, his influence on the industry, and a surprising incident on set that changed his life forever. What does Jackie Chan really think of Bruce Lee? And how was he inspired by him? Stay tuned as we uncover Jackie Chan's thoughts on the martial arts legend. Jackie Chan's revelation about Bruce Lee. Martial artist turned actor, Jackie Chan made a surprising revelation amid ongoing speculation about the possible causes of Bruce Lee's death. Lee, who would have turned 82 last November, has been the subject of numerous theories, including claims of an ancient Chinese curse and poisoning. Jackie Chan, who spoke about the different conspiracy theories and his personal belief about the cause of Lee's death, said no in response to those speculations. He then gave a detailed explanation of the exact cause of his death and the reasons why he never wanted to be another Bruce Lee. Now, before we go into the details of what he said, let's take a quick look at how the two legendary martial artists met. This might just be the beginning of what is about to be revealed. The two martial arts icons, Jackie Chan and Bruce Lee, reportedly had a humorous encounter in the early 1970s. The widely known superstars have a reputation as the two biggest kung fu movie stars of all time. Bruce Lee reportedly made a handful of movies from 1971 and 1973, while Chen, who had a far different style and image, dominated the genre over the next 3 decades. While the two actors never co-starred in a picture, the two did meet, and the true story of how Chen met Lee is described as charming as the actors themselves. Reports have it that before Bruce Lee came onto the scene, kung fu movies were being made in China, but it was the arrival of the Dragon movie that transformed the genre, and most especially how it was viewed by countries outside of Asia. Bruce Lee, who made an explosion in the entertainment industry with the release of The Big Boss in 1971, thrilled audiences with his skills as a martial artist, and as a result, he became a worldwide sensation. Following the release of The Big Boss, Bruce Lee starred in 4 movies before his death. He was reported to have died during the filming of Game of Death, and his most famous film, which was arguably the most iconic martial arts movie ever made, Enter the Dragon, was released after his death. According to reports, it was during the filming of Enter the Dragon that Bruce Lee had an interesting meeting with Jackie Chan, who was yet to become a star, but had worked as a stuntman on Bruce Lee's second movie, Fist of Fury. Jackie Chan was believed to be one of several nameless opponents that Bruce Lee's character had to fight at once in a particular scene. Jackie Chan, who recounted his experience in a video, said that when he attacked Bruce Lee, Lee hit him across the face with one of his sticks. Chan saw the blow was an accident and continued with the scene until it was over. It was later reported that as soon as there was a break, Lee rushed over to Chan and apologized. In an interview, Jackie Chan admitted to pretending he was hurt more than he actually was, simply because he enjoyed the attention he received from Lee, whom he idolized. Reports have it that after this encounter, Lee would always remember Chan's name whenever he would see him on set and would even talk with him on occasions. This incident is believed to have also led to Lee selecting him for even more stunt work in Enter the Dragon. Lee's movies is believed to have had an irreversible effect on the kung fu genre, as it changed the approach that studios, directors, and producers used for making martial arts films. Not only did Lee create the kung fu craze of the 1970s, He taught studios that what they needed for their kung fu movies were highly trained actors with backgrounds in martial arts. The story of how the two met goes to show just how much of an icon Lee was at the time, and still is. Bruce Lee's life and career has undoubtedly inspired many martial artists, not leaving out Jackie Chan in so many ways. But before we look into how Chan's life was affected by Bruce Lee and what working for him was like, let's take a look at his claim regarding Bruce Lee's death and how fans reacted to it. What will be revealed next will definitely blow your mind. Jackie Chan. On Bruce Lee's death in public reactions. Jackie Chan revealed on Sway's Universe that Lee died in somebody's house. He claimed that his boss went to pick him up and sent him to the hospital.
He died in somebody's house. Yeah, that's everybody knows. He died in somebody's house. My boss go to pick him up and then send him to the hospital.
Which was publicized in the Hong Kong Google. He called it a normal dying in somebody's house. He also lamented how Lee's superstardom led to his early death. He revealed that Lee was under so much pressure to be a superhero. In contrasting news released by The Sun, it was reported that Bruce Lee's cause of death was officially listed as an allergic reaction to aspirin, which was ultimately declared a death by misadventure. The martial arts legend was believed to have previously collapsed months before his death, which led to a diagnosis of cerebral edema at Hong Kong Baptist Hospital. His condition was also referred to as brain swelling, as it was reportedly caused by the buildup of fluid around the brain, which required that the 32-year-old go on medication to reduce the swelling. Lee, before his death, reportedly admitted to being human despite his success in the martial arts arena. He added that despite his skills, he could never fight Muhammad Ali, as everybody around him at that time suggested he should. The Enter the Dragon director Robert Klaus added that Bruce knew he could never win a fight against Ali. However, Chan's comment about Lee's death have reportedly generated lots of reaction from fans on social media, as fans had a lot to say about the apparent truth. One Facebook user concluded that nothing kills a great story like the truth. He expressed disbelief at the fact that Bruce was only 32 years when he died, and added that there was no way Lee passed from anything natural. Another user quoted Chan and joked about Lee dying a normal death in someone's house. Another commenter remarked that Jackie was not silly enough to fall out with triads. A Facebook user questioned how possible it was for Lee to die in someone's house. Another ex-user speculated that Jackie Chan knows more than what he's admitted to, and suggested that he was too quick to be dismissive. The issue of Bruce Lee's death has continued to generate lots of speculation and controversy since his death. But beyond their meeting on set, what about the relationship that existed between these two icons? This is where it gets interesting. Jackie Chan on working for Bruce Lee. Jackie Chan, who began his film career as a stuntman, worked on two of Bruce Lee's films. Fist of Fury, 1972, in which he had a tiny role as a Japanese martial arts student, and Enter the Dragon, 1973. In an interview, Chan reminisced about his respect for Lee, his prowess at Kung Fu, and how he was thrilled when Lee talked to him on set. Chan, who also spoke about how Lee influenced him, said he admired him and the way he talked. He added that everyone thought he was a god, and stated the fact that Lee won the respect of the stuntmen because he treated them as equals. He revealed that Lee would chat with them on set, eat with them, and sometimes contribute towards their medical bills if they got hurt. He admitted that Lee's behavior impressed him even as a young martial artist. He also revealed how he got the chance to be with the icon on stage, despite the fact that Lee would talk to other stuntmen, but not him, because he was just a kid. Chan spoke about some difficult scenes he was involved in. He cited a situation where he was being suspended by a wire and how he hit the ground with unexpected force. He also remembered how Bruce Lee touched him and picked him up on set after he fell. Chan said he vowed to do all his own stunts if he ever got the chance to be a leading man after working for Lee. Yuan, who had studied at the China Drama Academy with Chan and Sammo Hung Combo, was reported to be Lee's stunt double on Fist of Fury and provided the Northern-style martial arts acrobatics that the competition-trained Lee could not perform himself. Jackie Chan decided he would do everything himself and let people know it was him after watching stuntmen double for Lee. He made sure people can always see his face. It was later revealed that although Chan quickly came to revere him, he was initially suspicious of Lee, who was regarded as a foreigner, until he saw the big boss. Chan admitted that they were prepared to hate the film until they saw the movie, which was everything the movies they were making weren't. Reports have it that Bruce Lee's approach to martial arts gave birth to industry kung fu stars like Gordon Liu, the Five Venoms, and in the late 1970s, Jackie Chan. At first, Chan was reportedly groomed to be the next Bruce Lee, but after a while, studios realized that Chan was at his best when he was allowed to create his own brand of movies. In time, Chan was able to become an icon in his own right. Also, his experience with Lee still had a great influence on him. Jackie Chan has said in the past that working with Bruce Lee was what inspired his trademark method of doing all his own stunts. Up till today, many martial arts fans have noticed some similarities between the fighting styles of these two great icons. But how does Jackie Chan's fighting style compare to Bruce Lee? Stick around to the end for a surprise twist. Jackie Chan versus Bruce Lee's fighting style. Reports have it that Jackie refused to use Bruce Lee's fighting style while making kung fu movies in the 1970s. After Lee's death in 1973, the Hong Kong movie industry reportedly tried tirelessly to find a new actor who could fill the void left by the martial arts legend, Bruce Lee. And during that time, Jackie Chan was believed to be among the many actors identified as candidates to become the next Bruce Lee. In his autobiography, Never Grow Up, Chan said that he was instructed by filmmakers to emulate Lee through his movements and expressions, but felt that Lee was someone no one could ever surpass, and his fighting style as a whole didn't work for him. He claimed in his book that Lee had a tendency to execute high kicks, but he preferred to kick low to the ground. Admittedly, Chan and Lee were believed to have a few things in common when it comes to their martial arts backgrounds. Lee reportedly grew up learning Wing Chun, a style of kung fu designed for counterattacking. Chan also learned Wing Chun, but his foundation was believed to be primarily from his training in northern and southern Shaolin kung fu. More like Lee, Chan eventually employed a diverse approach to fighting that encompasses multiple martial arts styles. Both are widely known for using kung fu, but were also willing to incorporate stances and movies tied to Western boxing, Hapkido, and more. While there are similarities, their movies made it clear that Lee and Chan are totally different as martial artists. Lee is known to focus on speed, power, and execution. Chan, on the other hand, was significantly more acrobatic in his approach, as his kung fu training and natural talents had turned him into an incredibly agile fighter. All of this was believed to have ultimately translated to the big screen as well, with their respective skills lending to the images that they developed as martial arts stars. In Chan's own words in Never Grow Up, Lee came across as superhuman and defeated his opponents in quick succession. In contrast to Lee, Chan engaged in longer fights and often relied on acrobatics and improvised fights to win. Lee's one-inch punch. Bruce Lee's one-inch punch is the most well-known move in martial arts history. As its name suggests, the one-inch punch is a technique martial artists use to hit targets at incredibly close range. The thought that, if done right, an attacker can exert enough force to bring down his opponent makes it unique. Bruce Lee's one-inch punch gained widespread recognition as early as the 1960s, about 10 years before Lee rose to prominence as a global martial arts celebrity. Lee became famous when he demonstrated it at the Beach Karate National Championship. At the time, the martial arts community took notice of him widely. Interest in Lee's one-inch punch increased dramatically as his notoriety increased. Although Lee made the move so famous that many renowned martial artists from different kung fu forms now utilize it, Lee remains the most well-known practitioner of the technique. Keep watching. The story is just getting interesting. Lee did not come up with the one-inch punch suddenly in 1964. It is based on Chinese martial arts in general and the instruction he received as a teenager. Lee's martial arts expertise began in the 1950s when he trained under Wing Chun Grandmaster Wing Chun, who laid the groundwork for Lee's form of Kung Fu, Jeet Kune Do. The one-inch punch's tenets derive from its theory, since Wing Chun is a fighting style for close quarters. Lee was already acquainted with techniques designed for close quarters combat because of his training in Wing Chun. Before the one-inch punch was publicly unveiled, Bruce Lee's pupil, James DeMille, provided insight into Lee's development method. He claimed that Lee developed an enhanced version of an already known Wing Chun move. Lee attempted to shorten the technique by experimenting with various stances and angles, since he thought it would be more effective if performed from a closer range. Eventually, they found a combination that worked. Lee demonstrated its power once by throwing someone 16 feet back and landing them squarely in a chair. Lee's accuracy, instant execution, speed, a crucial attribute for which the actor is currently well known, and the precise angle at which he accomplished it are all responsible for his accomplishments. Bruce Lee's one-inch punch is mighty because of his speed, which is also one of the reasons so few martial artists have been able to replicate it so well. Lee's father taught him the foundations of martial arts. During his teenage years, Lee got entangled in gang disputes in Hong Kong, which resulted in a lot of street battles. Lee's studies of Wing Chun had the most significant impact on his development as a martial artist. After suffering defeats at the hands of rival gang members, 16-year-old Lee trained in Wing Chun under Ip Man in late 1956 and early 1957. Form practice, sticking hand drills, wooden dummy techniques, and free sparring were the main components of Ip's regular lessons. The classes followed no predetermined schedule. Between 1956 and 1958, Edward, the coach of the St. Francis Xavier's college boxing team, trained Lee in boxing. In 1958, Lee defeated Gary Elms, the defending champion, via knockout in the Hong Kong Schools Boxing Championship final. Following his relocation to the US, Lee was significantly impacted by heavyweight boxing champion Muhammad Ali, whose moves he observed and adopted into his style during the 1960s. Lee advocated mixed martial arts training and was especially interested in grappling. In addition to Jean Labelle, Lee received instruction from several judo practitioners in Seattle and California, including Fred Sato, Jesse Glover, Taki Kimura, Hayward Nishioka, and Wally J. He studied as much as he taught, and many of his early pupils were skilled in judo and other martial arts. On the set of The Green Hornet, Lee became friends with Labelle and offered to teach him striking arts in exchange for learning grappling tactics. Lee's grappling tactics. Prominent grapplers Lou Thez and Ed Lewis had taught Labelle to catch wrestling, and vital judo and catch wrestling techniques can be found in Lee's Tao of Jeet Kune Do. Ji Hanjai, the Hapkido instructor, also taught him some grappling techniques. Glover claims that Lee's main observation about judo's ineffectiveness was when it came to seizing the opponent. During their first training session, Glover demonstrated an Osoto Gari for Lee, which Lee thought was a good technique, but he didn't appreciate that Glover had to cling to Lee. Lee learned how to avoid being tackled or taken to the ground by opponents while living in Seattle. Glover said that Lee would not go to the ground if he could get you standing up. Still, Lee told Labelle that he wished to incorporate judo into his fighting technique. He added judo throws, arm locks, and chokeholds to Jeet Kune Do, including the Osoto Gari. Lee showcased grappling moves in his films, including Way of the Dragon, where his character finishes his opponent Chuck Norris with a neck hold inspired by Labelle. Lee felt grappling was not very useful in action choreography because it was not visually distinctive. In addition, Lee and Han Jae trade grappling techniques in Game of Death, and Lee uses wrestling to subdue Kareem Abdul-Jabbar's character. The training regimen of the Great Gama, an Indian-Pakistani Pelwani wrestling champion renowned for his strength in the grappling hold, also impacted Lee. Lee used Gama's workouts as part of his regimen, but that's not all. The Dragon Flag Bruce Lee was an extreme sportsman. According to his widow, Linda Lee, he would watch TV athletes perform full splits and never miss an opportunity to work out. Bruce's wife claimed that he would practice and hone his talents virtually every minute of the day. He knew he would need to put in a tremendous deal of practice and exercise to be the best martial artist in the world. Building up his core was Lee's top priority out of all the muscles in his body, since he felt that the stomach region, or core, is involved in practically every movement and is crucial in martial arts. Lee created what is now known as the Dragon Flag in his honor to strengthen his core. It is regarded as one of the most challenging core workouts available if you can't figure it out. Since Lee didn't play around, though Lee is said to have been able to sustain his entire body on the edge of a bench with only his shoulders touching anything, while the rest of his body remained perfectly rigid and horizontal to the ground, Stallone may have popularized the move in Rocky IV. These days, martial artists worldwide use Bruce's Dragon Flag exercises as a standard because of his ability to make martial artists understand the value of having strong core muscles. Stay tuned. The best part of the video is just around the corner. Lee's superhuman strength. Bruce Lee's sheer power is one of his accomplishments that many people fail to recognize. Although it may seem apparent that a martial artist must possess strength, most people are unaware of Bruce Lee's actual level of strength. Most people think that having very massive muscles equates to strength. Most likely, when you imagine someone who is powerful, you envision someone roughly 6 feet tall with more muscles than they could need. But Bruce Lee was a tiny man, but he possessed strength beyond the reach of most people's imaginations. Examining his training bags is a simple method to demonstrate this. Bruce practiced punching and kicking with training bags like other people do, but he would devour these packages in an instant. He would frequently pound through or rupture standard punching bags to the point where it became inconvenient for him to use them. Bruce would therefore have to locate denser, heavier sacks that would not break under the impact of his extraordinary power. Remember that a typical punching bag weighs roughly 50 kilograms. However, Bruce frequently had to utilize bags weighing more than 135 kilograms. According to reports, Bruce was able to kick these bags many feet into the air, which just served to highlight how amazing things are. Bruce could send these sacks moving, but if you tried to kick one yourself, they probably wouldn't move more than an inch or two when you made contact. Bruce Lee understood the human body like a pro. Not only could he perform an astonishingly high quantity of push-ups, but he could complete them with just one hand. He was once put through a test to determine how many push-ups he could complete. Bruce boldly decided to go further and challenged himself to perform push-ups with just 2 fingers. He accomplished more than 200 push-ups in this try. Later, he set a higher standard and accomplished at least 100 push-ups using his thumb. If that weren't enough, he frequently performed hundreds of pull-ups with just one hand. But there's still another awe-inspiring accomplishment. Bruce Lee could perform more than 1,500 consecutive push-ups without pausing if you were to judge him only on his standard form. Although that is utterly unbelievable, that is the reality. There was no man like this. That's not all. Bruce Lee enthusiasts have long known this, but those unfamiliar with martial arts might not. Bruce Lee was acclaimed as one of the world's best martial arts actors when he shot to fame in the 1960s and 1970s. But he came dangerously close to failing in the film industry. You might wonder why, since he was just too quick. Filmmakers could not capture Bruce Lee's movements in real time when they worked on The Green Hornet, one of his most well-known TV series. We now own cameras capable of recording at 30, 60, 120, or even 240 frames per second. However, most cameras in the 1960s and 70s had trouble recording film at a speed of only 24 frames per second. As a result, most of Bruce Lee's fight scenes appeared incorrectly in the film. As the filmmakers soon discovered, Bruce could throw 9 punches in a second. In addition, he had a 6-second kickoff speed. Bruce appeared motionless in numerous combat scenes because capturing his movements on a camera that could only capture 24 frames per second at most was difficult. Producers on the set then claimed that the footage they captured showed Bruce standing still as his foes descended around him. In actuality, though, his talent was too outstanding for the movies to match. The filmmakers had to ask Bruce to slow down so they could follow him properly, which helped to correct the dilemma. But even after that, his movements appear quite hazy on camera. If you enjoy watching martial arts movies, you've watched Karate Kid before. When you watch the movie again, you probably remember a scene where Daniel LaRusso practices using chopsticks to capture flies. What looks easy on the surface turns out to be quite challenging. Bruce Lee, though, would go one further. Regretfully, there was never a flawless photo of this accomplishment. However, according to reports, Bruce Lee would throw pieces of rice into the air and use chopsticks to catch them. He took this action to sharpen his reflexes in the most remarkable manner imaginable. He was reportedly very expert at it, seeing the rice practically every time it was thrown into the air. His reflexes were significantly quicker than any of his rivals at the moment. And after all these years, nobody has been able to equal or exceed his achievements. It seems so complex that many people today question whether Bruce Lee was able to accomplish this accomplishment at all. However, this is simply one more instance of Bruce Lee's superhuman abilities. Jeet Kune. Bruce Lee is the creator and practitioner of Jeet Kune Do, also known as JKD. It is a hybrid martial art that translates to way of the intercepting fist in Chinese. It developed as a new school of martial arts philosophy from Lee's experiences in unarmed combat and self-defense and eclectic Zen Buddhist and Taoist beliefs. As an eclectic martial art, it relies on a fighting style heavily influenced by Wing Chun, Tai Chi, Taekwondo, boxing, fencing, and Jiu-Jitsu. Bruce Lee himself never formalized Jeet Kune Do before his death, forcing later JKD practitioners to rely upon their interpretation of the philosophy created by Bruce Lee. The central idea of Jeet Kune Do is the interception of the opponent and making corresponding responses or counterattacks that strike at incoming attacks. JKD also incorporates principles to help practitioners make instant decisions and improve the physical and mental self. The story just got much more enjoyable. 4 universal combat truths that Lee believed were self-evident and, if followed, would lead to combat success were incorporated into Jeet Kune Do. He thought that the 4 combat ranges in particular were crucial to his development as a total martial artist. Additionally, mixed martial arts are mostly tied to this principle. The intercepting idea comes from the belief held by JKD practitioners that a potent offense is always the best defense. Lee thought an opponent had to approach a target to attack them. This presented a chance to intercept that assault or motion. Intercepting physical attacks is not the only application of the interception principle. According to Lee, many nonverbals and telegraphs, subtle motions that an opponent is blind to, can be read or intercepted and utilized to one's benefit. Forming the offensive aspect of JKD, the 5 ways of attack are attacking categories that assist practitioners of Jeet Kune Do organize their fighting repertoire. The defensive part of JKD consists of the ideas of stop strikes and stop kicks, and simultaneous parrying and punching, which were taken from European fencing and Wing Chun's principle of simultaneous striking and defending. Lee adapted these ideas for unarmed combat and incorporated them into the JKD framework. Additionally, these ideas support the other interception principle. Lee said martial arts systems ought to be as adaptable as feasible. He frequently utilized the analogy of water to explain why flexibility is a valued quality in martial arts. Water has limitless flexibility. It can be seen through, yet it may also sometimes make objects invisible. It can break apart, circumnavigate obstacles, reassemble on the opposite side, or smash through obstacles. It can flow by the tiniest pebble or slowly lap at the toughest boulders to dissolve them. These are the qualities Lee thought a martial system ought to possess. Because of this rigidity, JKD students reject conventional fighting tactics, training regimens, and Confucian pedagogy in traditional kung fu schools. JKD is an incredibly flexible, dynamic idea because it is constantly changing. Bruce Lee is credited with saying, "Take what is beneficial, throw away what is useless." It is encouraged by JKD students to study every possible kind of warfare. This is thought to increase one's understanding of other combat techniques, build up one's armory, and teach one how to counter such strategies. Lee, the magician. If you've ever watched a magician up close, you've undoubtedly seen this timeless trick of taking a coin from behind someone's ear. Most magicians master this fundamental trick at some time in their careers. Unbelievably, Bruce Lee used to execute an identical feat for his followers. Bruce Lee would offer you a coin and place it in your hand, rather than hiding one behind your ear. He would want you to extend your hand as far apart as possible. Bruce then had you close your palm before he could take the coin from you, detecting even the slightest movement on his part. No one could ever stop this man from taking the coin out of someone's palm because of how fast he moved, but Bruce continued to refine the trick over time, making it even more impressive. Bruce would not only take the penny before the person could close their hand, but he would also replace it with a different one. Whenever you believed the situation was under control, he would open your palm and show you that a new coin had been inserted. Imagine, please, if this man had chosen to use his abilities for evil rather than good. He would have been an expert swindler. Fortunately, Bruce made a far more honorable life choice. What do you think about Jackie Chan's revelation about Bruce Lee? Do share your thoughts with us in the comments section. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more. Also, click on the following video showing